Okay, today we're going to be looking at dividing fractions. Dividing fractions. Okay, so our learning goal today is I can divide fractions. Some jokes. What do you call a fig noodle? An impasta. What does a baby computer call his father? Dada. Pretty good. So here's the daily review that we go over in class. So you should have that in your notes. If you'd like to practice those on your own, feel free to pause the video and try those. Number one, we multiply when we multiply fractions this way. So we get 5 out of 16. Apologize for the video being a little blurry. Number two, or part B, we can divide opposite to get 1 and 1. Then we multiply to get 1 over 5. Number two, notice that we're subtracting. So we need to find common denominators. A common denominator of 8 and 7 is 56. Now you ask yourself, what number times 7 gets me 56? Times 8. When we do the bottom, you do to the top. What number times 8 gives me 56? 7. (35 minus 8 is equal to 27. You end up with 27 over 56. Just a little over half. Number 3. So notice how we're adding here. So we need to find common denominators. What number times 7 gives me 14? It's times 2. 3 times 2 is 26. What number times 2 gives me 14? It's 7. Now we have an addition sign, so we need to add the tops. We don't want to leave it as an improper fraction, so we'll go ahead and divide 47 into the 14. 14 times 3 is 42, with 5 remainder. So answer is 3 and 5 over 14. That was it for our daily review. Let's review some vocabulary before we start. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are whole numbers. Integers are like whole numbers, but include negatives. More vocabulary. Fractions. They're parts of a whole. Some examples of fractions. Rational numbers can be made by dividing two integers. Pi is not rational. It's irrational. There's a ratio. Ratio. Rational numbers can be written as a fraction. Can be written as a fraction. Cannot be written as a fraction. Reciprocal. The reciprocal is simply saying 1 over a number. 1 divided by a number. It's like turning it upside down. So 3 over 2 is equal to 2 over 3. How about 4 over 5? It's equal to 5 over 4. Some examples of reciprocals. Turning it upside down. I'd like to take a moment, just sit right there. Tell you how I became a prince of a town called Bel Air. So for our first question, we'll look at 3 over 4 divided by 1/5. I have steps here that could help you to figure out how to divide fractions. So take a minute, pause the video, and read the steps. So we have 3 over 4 divided by 1 over 5. Now if you look at our steps here, we can use keep, change, flip to figure out what the answer is. So let's go ahead and do that for the first question here. We're going to keep this the same, switch it from division to its reciprocal, which is multiplication. Now we multiply straight, we get 15 over 4. 15 over 4 is equal to 3, and 3 over 4. Now let's do the same example, except let's draw a picture. Doesn't that sound like fun? So first thing we want to do is we want to draw a square. Try to draw it as straight as you can. No, it's not very straight. It's okay. I can find me a straight edge here, some kind of sort, and then I'll be all good. That's not very straight. Burp, 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 burp. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and draw 3/4. 1. Assuming that they're proportional, of course. Now I'm going to color in 3 out of 4. Now I've got 1/5, so I need to break that up into fifths. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 more, so I'm going to cut that last one in half. Okay. Okay, so according to the steps, it says to circle the cross section in my numerator. A different pen. Circle the first row in my numerator here. Okay, I'll come back to that in just a minute. Now I'm going to count up the total number of colored, shaded in squares. 3 times 5 is 15. That's going to be my numerator. And then my denominator is going to be the one I circled. And I get 15 over 4, which is the same thing as 3 and 3 over 4. Let's do one more. Picture of my cat. My cat's name is Luna. First person to come and tell me that my cat's name is Luna, you saw it in the video, get candy. Okay, we have a guest for our next question, and this is going to be Mr. Khan Academy himself. So Saul Khan, give him a round of applause. Here he is. Hello there. This is Saul Khan from Khan Academy, and I want to work with you today on solving dividing fractions. First, we're gonna do is to write down the problem. 3 over 5, 3 over 5, divided by 2 over 3, 2/3. So now we are going to do the steps we talked about, Mr. Liu talked about earlier. So we have 3 over 5 divided by 2/3. We want to keep the first fraction the same. Keep it the same. Then we're going to change the division to multiplication. Then we multiply. Then we're going to flip the last number. Last fraction. Now we multiply straight. You get 9 over 10. And there you have it. 9 over 10. Now Mr. Liu is rather strict and he wants you to divide the fractions. So let's draw a picture when we divide here. So let's start off. Do you remember? Well, feel free to pause the video and try it on your own if you'd like. We're going to start off by drawing a square. It's actually a rectangle. Try to make it as straight as possible. That's not very straight. I'll use the straight edge here to do fifths now. Fifths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to shade in 3, 3, 3 out of 5. Now we're going to take our 2/3 here and we're going to divide it into thirds. Divide it into thirds. 1, 2, 3. There are our thirds. Well done. Hopefully you got to this point. I encourage you to pause the video and try the next step. Alright, according to the steps, it says to look at the numerator and circle that many rows. Now my numerator is going to be the total number of squares shaded in, which is 9. And my denominator is, do you remember? 10. So we get 9 out of 10. I want to thank Mr. Liu for taking the time today to let me come in here and teach you a little bit about math. Feel free to go to Khan Academy and I will show you lots more videos on dividing fractions. I have some really complicated math. I'm doing some videos on history. So if you need some help in history, I can help you with that as well. Thanks again for tuning in. Here's Mr. Liu. How nice of Mr. Saul Khan to come in here and teach us about fractions. What a guy. Got a little plug for himself there too. He's a nice fella, isn't he? What a nice thing for him to do, to start that whole Khan Academy thing, huh? Huh? Today we learned about dividing fractions. The learning goal was I can divide fractions. Thanks again for tuning in, and feel free to practice more in the textbook if you need more guidance there. And Khan, like he said, they are available in lots of practice. You could do Khan Academy on dividing fractions. It's free, it's available to all students all around the world. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time, this is Mr. Liu.